guys, it's Alec Torelli. Welcome back to the hand of the day. Today's hand comes from a high stakes cash game in Macau. The blinds are 1,000, 2,000 Hong Kong, which is about 125, 250 US. I raise the weak player at the table's blind to 6,000 in late position. I'm in the cutoff. He defends. So we're heads up to the flop. Great spot for me. I have two queens, and of course I'm loving playing in position against a very weak player. Flop comes 10-7-3 rainbow. He checks, I bet 10,000, and he check calls. Here, of course, I'm thinking I have the best hand, something like 90 to 95% of the time. I'm loving my hand, and on most turns and most rivers, I'm gonna plan on betting 3 times, going for maximum value. The turn comes a king of diamonds, which is an interesting card, and he checks. It's easy to think this is a scare card and to just check behind here, play a little bit of pot control, and sort of slow down and then, reevaluate on the river, maybe go for value if he checks or call a bet if he bets. I think that's a crucial mistake. And I think betting here is very, very important for a myriad of reasons. Number one, a lot of times when you are in this spot and you're betting twice, you're gonna have a weak hand like ace jack, ace queen, queen jack, even something like 8-9 for a straight draw. Or you maybe even picked up the nut flush draw on the turn, and you're gonna be trying to get your opponent to fold. So if you're betting twice with all these weak hands, it's very important to incorporate stronger hands into your betting range. Otherwise, you're gonna be too easy to play against. Too much of the hands that you're betting are gonna be weak, and intuitive opponents are gonna be able to figure this out and call you lightly on the turn. So mixing up your hands here and betting to something like 2 queens, which is not the strongest hand. You don't have a set or even something like aces or ace king, but a second pair type hand is very important because you also apply pressure on your opponent. You get value from hands like 10 or a stubborn 7, and you also force him to pay with draws. If he has something like 8-9 or 8-6 with a flush draw, he has a ton of equity, and he's justified to call you on the turn, even if he knows what you have. So it's really important to be betting here, not only to get value from the times that you have him beat, but to protect your hand as well. And it also makes you tougher to play against. So 3 strong reasons for betting.
Could you see the way I see?
So I went ahead and bet 25K, which is on the smaller side. And I want to do that because I want to get value from hands that are weaker. And I also want to give a very aggressive, sort of loose cannon opponent, which is the specific person I was playing against, the chance to check raise me and perhaps try and bluff me or continue to put money in the pot in whatever fashion that may be. Maybe he check calls, maybe he check raises. The key thing to consider here is that my hand is really, really strong at this point. It's very easy to say the king is a scare card, but what hands do my opponent have that has a king in it? He check called the flop. I have 2 queens, so it's really, really unlikely he has king queen. That's very, very hard. The only hands that check call the flop with a king in them are something like king 10 or king 7, possibly king 3 suited. But if you count the possibilities of combinations of those hands, they're very, very small. It's very, very hard for him to have a king, given the way the action went down. So I'm really not scared of the card at all, even though it could represent like a scary overcard. So he check raises to 60K. I bet 25K, he makes it 60K. And now I'm thinking that he cannot have a 10. He cannot have a 7 because he would check call with those hands. So the hands that he's representing by check raising are 2 different possibilities. One is he has strong made hands, which are king 10, king 7, or a set. Some of the times he would check call again with those, so I discount pretty half of the possibilities of those hands because some of the time he's going to check call with something like king 3 or king 7. So he could have a 2-pair hand or a set, which again is very unlikely. And also when you play live, you sort of get a feel for the situation, which made me even think it's more unlikely. Or he has something like a bluff, a draw, a combo draw, something like 8-9 he's turning into a bluff, maybe something like 8-6 suited where he picked up a flush draw on the turn, something like a 7 with diamonds where he has a pair, now he picked up a flush draw, and now he's gonna bluff with it. And I think that betting small sort of induces those loose cannon aggro opponents to do this. So given that I set this play up, I'm never gonna fold when he check raises. He makes it 60k, and I call. The river comes a complete blank, a 2, not a diamond. He bets 120,000, and I call immediately, because, of course, this is what I expected and hoped would happen. If he has me beat, I'm gonna pay him off, but I think there's so many times that I just induce this action with a worse hand. I call, and he mucks right away.
Could you feel the way I feel?
So I think the important thing to consider in this hand is really the action on the turn, and how betting 25,000 induces my opponent to end up losing 150,000, 200,000 extra, whereas checking would have maybe netted me something like whatever he would bet on the river. I check the turn behind, he bets 30,000 on the river, I call and win the pot, and it's really a small hand. But by betting here, I make myself very tough to play against, and I induce my opponent to make a catastrophic mistake, costing him nearly 100 big blinds. I hope you took something away from the hand of the day, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Could you feel